In this video, we will be looking at the settings in Resident Evil 4 Remake that are related to the motor accessibility of the game, such as when using the Running Camera Assist option, the Reset Scope Magnification option, and the Aim Assist option. The game is a third-person action game that's available on PS4, PS5, Xbox Series, and Windows PC. We will be looking at the console version of the game. However, all settings can also be found on the PC version. You play as Agent Leon Kennedy as he embarks on a rescue mission to save the President's daughter, Ashley Graham. During the game, you have puzzles to solve and encounter various enemies who have been infected with a parasite called Las Plagas. Footage has been captured directly off a PS5 console from the PS5 version of the game. Before starting the game, you have to select a difficulty. You can choose between Assisted, Standard, or Hardcore. Professional difficulty is unlocked after completing the game on any difficulty. Assisted is the easiest difficulty where enemies have reduced health, Leon receives less damage, and more ammo is created when crafting. If your health is in danger, you automatically heal if you don't receive damage after a period of time. Items will also be cheaper, and the Aim Assist option is turned on by default on this difficulty. If playing on Standard and you are defeated, you can change the difficulty to Assisted at the Game Over menu. Professional is the most difficult option where enemies have more health and Leon takes more damage. Specific items will cost more and parrying is more precise. This difficulty also disables the autosave option, so you have to make a manual save to save your progress. Next, we will look at the options in the controls menu. There is no custom input remapping within the game. However, you can choose between 6 different control types, each with their own controller layout. The main differences are the crouch, run, command partner, and quick turn actions being rotated between inputs on the different layouts. The default is called A1 and is described as being optimized for playing Resident Evil 4. A2 is the same as A1, but switches the inputs for the crouch and command partner actions over. B1 is described as being for players accustomed to the Resident Evil series. B2 is the same as B1, but switches crouch and command partner. C1 is described as being for players accustomed to the controls of Resident Evil 4 from 2005. C2 is the same as C1, but switches crouch and command partner over. Run and crouch actions are set by default to be toggled to use them, requiring a single press of the input to start the action and another to stop them. There is an option to change this to a hold instead. Quick turn type allows you to change the button for quick turning. The chosen button needs to be pressed simultaneously while pressing left stick down. You could choose between R1, L3 and circle on PlayStation, or RB, LS and B on Xbox. It is set to R1 by default. As well as parrying with L1, you can set it so that you can parry with R2 for PlayStation or LB and RT for Xbox. There are certain parts of the game where you have to repeatedly tap a button to progress. You can change this to a hold input instead by changing the repeated button input type option. Aim Assist type can reduce the accuracy needed for aiming with the right stick. Turning on Snap will lock your crosshair onto an enemy after aiming. Snap and Follow does the same as Snap, but tracks the enemy if they move. This may be set to off by default, depending on the difficulty setting you have chosen. You can adjust the speed of the camera when using Assist mode by altering the Aim Assist max speed. The further right you set it on the scale, the faster you can move your aim between enemies or body parts when aiming. You can change the speed of the reticle deceleration. The further right you move on the scale, the slower the reticle will slow down when aiming at enemies. Auto Reload will reload your weapon automatically when you run out of an ammo clip. The setting is already on by default. If you switch the Reset Scope Magnification setting to off, when aiming with a weapon that uses a scope, such as a rifle, it remains on the same scope magnification when exiting and entering aim mode. You can turn off the controller vibration. On the PS5 version of the game, you can turn off the adaptive triggers. Next, we will look at the options available in the camera menu. You can invert the up, down and left, right camera movements by changing the camera inversion option. By default, moving the right stick up moves it up and down moves it down. Turning on Invert Y-axis swaps these movements around so that moving the right stick up will move the camera down and pushing it down will move it up. You can also invert the left and right camera movements by turning on Invert X-axis. You can choose to swap a single axis or swap them both. You can also do the same for when aiming and when examining items in your inventory. The maximum camera speed can be adjusted for normal gameplay and for aiming. In many games, this would be referred to as camera sensitivity and controls, meaning the camera will rotate faster or slower when moving the analog stick on your controller. You can also adjust the camera acceleration for both normal gameplay and for aiming. The higher you go on the scale, the faster the camera will respond to movement on your stick input and reach the maximum speed you have set. Running camera assist can help with moving the camera so the right stick is used less often. This only occurs when holding the run button. You can choose between off, horizontal only, or horizontal and vertical. We hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions about the motor accessibility of this game, please get in touch with Special Effect. For game developers interested in more video examples of motor accessibility features, please visit the Special Effects Dev Kit at specialeffectsdevkit.info.